Hello, you forsaken Patriots. I got my buddy here with me. How did you fall in love with Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu?
Uh, it was a love-hate relationship in the beginning before it was actual love. I The first time I noticed that jiu-jitsu was working for me outside of the gym was when I really started to fall in love with the sport of jiu-jitsu. It started to change my outlook on the way that jiu-jitsu was affecting my life in general. I was no longer, like we spoke earlier before we started rolling here, I wasn't a humble person. I had a chip on my shoulder essentially, and I wanted to fight somebody. I wanted to prove that I was tough. And after taking jujitsu, I figured out fairly quickly that wasn't the important part, and that jujitsu wasn't about beating people up. It was about learning a discipline and how to become a better person across the board, not just good at defending yourself or beating someone up.
Yeah. So what is your favorite thing about teaching?
My favorite thing about teaching is, I mean, when you see the look on a student's face, whether it be a 12-year-old boy or girl or a 40-year-old man, the light bulb clicks on above their head and you see that happen. It's like, okay, they see what I see now, and they're starting to get that addiction to the jiu-jitsu. Because when I say addiction, you get addicted to the lifestyle, because jiu-jitsu, once you start in it and you really invest yourself into it, it becomes a lifestyle, not just a sport. And that's what I love about it. That's what keeps me and those coming back to it, is the whole, I don't know, it's emotional for me, because jiu-jitsu it's everything to me.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So what's your worst job that you've ever had?
Probably when I was 17, before I really was old enough to kind of get a factory job, which is kind of what I've done throughout my life. I got a summer job roofing houses with a guy. I got fired
Oh,
because I mean, I thought because I wasn't big enough and strong enough to get shingles around as fast. But in the guy that was hired me, in mind, I was lazy, because I was complaining all the time, like, this is hard. And I mean, I just didn't realize how physical it was, and it was hot, and you had to keep going. There wasn't really breaks and stuff. So roofing houses, whoever roofs houses out there, you get my props. That's a very difficult career.
and come join your class.
And come join my class. It'll make you nail shingles way faster.
So, in your thoughts, what's some pros or cons of the government?
Well, American government?
Yeah.
Well, pros, just the first thing that comes to mind is the freedoms that we have that other sovereignties or countries don't share with us. You know, the freedom of speech, even though we are, bottlenecked down into some things as far as it goes, we have the freedom to express ourselves in any way. You enjoy the freedom of religion and expressing, and your beliefs, prophesizing to people without any sort of discrimination from the government. And people that don't want to hear your prophecy have that option to not join and not listen. To where other countries, maybe if they're telling you about their God and you don't want to indoctrinate into that, well, your option may be death. So the pros of that, of freedom, is I think probably the biggest pro. That's something that unites Americans, because we have the same thing. We all have the freedom to build ourselves up from nothing into potentially anything off of nothing. You could have really you could just catch a break on, like, right now, you could start trending and go viral from this podcast right here, and now end up becoming successful in some people's eyes financially, and not have to, you could focus more on this. and anybody can do that. That's one of the pros of being in America, the opportunities that freedom gives us. Cons, I think that our government is reduced down to a two-party system. You end up either being on one team or another. If you're a Republican, you've got the same talking points as you do if you're a Democrat. Democrats have, you know, this is where they're going to stand, and this is the rock that they're going to die on, and Republicans have the same thing. And it limits our ability to join everyone together because we're so polar opposites in, say, gun control. You know, Democrats want to have some gun control, and Republicans want it to be the wild, wild west. And there's very little compromise, which would be that third party system that we say that we endorse. But if you run independently, you're not going to get a vote. And then people say, well, if you run independently, at least you'll take a vote away from. That's not true, you know. And at the end of the day, I believe it doesn't matter if you're joining the side of the Republican or joining the sides of the Democratic Party. You're joining the side of a losing, and they're together at the end of the day. The Republicans and Democrats, the government. It's almost the government against the people. A lot of ways that I see, and I think that's what I take as a con is we don't have a great system of more than two options. You just have the two options. It's served us so far, but people are changing. Things are becoming, because I'm getting older now. I believe that when I was coming up, things were better, and kids now are going to believe it was better when their adults come. But that's sort of where we're stuck with. I hope that answers that question.
Oh, absolutely. And the last one. So what's something that's been on your mind that you want the world or the 40 people that see this thing to know?
I teach Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu at E24/7 in Emporia, Kansas, and I would love everybody, all the 40 people that hear this, maybe the 41st, come and join the Jiu-Jitsu class and see what it's about and see if it may be able to help you like it helped me. It can't hurt you. I mean, it can physically hurt you a little bit, but you'll get over it. And if anybody ever catches the or falls in love with jiu-jitsu like I have, you'll join the cult too. So yeah, come do jiu-jitsu. That's what I want to say to everybody.
Awesome, man. Well, hey, I appreciate this. Hopefully it wasn't as bad as you thought, and now we get to edit.
All right, great, man.
Oh, dude, I appreciate this.
Sure, man.